Alright guys, so in this last video we are going to cover sections 3 and 4 of chapter 10, Presidency Road to the White House. It is very important to know that the presidential election is held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, and that the presidential candidate, well, the person who actually wins the presidency, is chosen by the Electoral College, not the actual people. So the Electoral College is pretty much a winner-take-all system. Remember what I was telling you guys in class. If a candidate wins in a state by popular vote, he pretty much receives all the Electoral College votes for that state. So remember that. So election, first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, and the president themselves is actually elected by the Electoral College and not the people. When it comes down to what actually goes on election day, for the most part, media and news outlets try to use what is called exit polls. Exit polls try to help them predict the outcome of the election. For the most part, they're pretty accurate. Voting is one of the most important civil rights, but it is the one most often neglected, especially right now. And in this day and age, you have a lot of groups of people that are trying to push young people and African Americans to get out there and vote in the upcoming election. Very important to know about exit polls. That is a test question. So a little bit of information on the Electoral College. It was established by the founding fathers in the Constitution. The purpose of the Electoral College is to give the smaller states an equal voice in who is elected president. Remember, guys, we talked about each state having a number or a certain number of Electoral College votes. So the president is elected by the Electoral College. The person who is elected needs a minimum total of 270 votes. The Electoral College consists of the members of Congress. So it has a total of 538 votes. 435 come from the House of Representatives and 100 comes from the Senate, 3 from Washington, D.C. So in order for a candidate to be elected president, they have to have a minimum of 270 votes. If a candidate does not receive a minimum of 270 votes, then it is the job of the House of Representatives to decide who the winner is in that particular election. Only 2 times in history, and it is important to know that, only 2 times in history have the House of Representatives actually been called upon to decide the winner in a presidential election. Section 4, and our final section of this particular chapter, deals with inauguration. So, of course, after the election and the president is decided, they have to go through inauguration. This is when the president is officially sworn in and takes their first oath of office. That is what inauguration means. The inaugural address was established by George Washington during his second oath of office, and it was originally on March 4th. It was on March 4th from 1789 to 1933, but the 20th Amendment changed the official date of inauguration to January the 20th. Very important to know that. That is also a test question. So the 20th Amendment changed the inaugural date to January 20th. The first president to be inaugurated on that particular date was President Roosevelt in 1937. While the location of inauguration has changed several times, it is pretty much permanently located now on the terrace of the west front of the Capitol. That was done by President Reagan in 1981. Very important to know that inauguration now takes place on the west front of the Capitol. The first president to be inaugurated in Washington, D.C. was Thomas Jefferson. Also important to know. The only president to take the oath of office or be sworn in an airplane was Lyndon B. Johnson. Important to know. And the president who started the tradition of the inaugural parade was Thomas Jefferson. Everything on this slide is a test question. All 4 of these are important points to know. This does conclude chapter 10. Make sure that you rewind if you need to. Take notes because I will be checking them on tomorrow. So very quick pop quiz. Question 1. What tool does the media use to predict the outcome of elections? Question 2. What was established by the Founding Fathers to give small states an equal voice in who is elected president? Question 3. How many times has the House of Representatives had to decide the winner in a presidential election? Question 4. Who was the only president to take the oath of office in an airplane? And question 5. What is the minimum number of electoral votes needed for a candidate to win the presidency? You guys be sure to study because you do have a test on tomorrow. Make sure you go back and listen to your previous videos if you need to and take your notes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.